Hey there. I feel like I might be shooting myself in the foot admitting this publicly, but a lot of times when a company sends me gear, I'll read through the manual and I'll respond to some emails, and then I'll just start taking it apart. I don't know why I do this. I suppose it's just curiosity. There's no real constructive purpose to it. I'm not trying to steal any secrets or anything. I just want to know what things look like on the inside, including people. But now it's frowned upon to disassemble people. I think it's even illegal in some states. However, this little habit comes in handy. The habit where I disassemble gear, I don't actually disassemble people, that was a joke, comes in handy when I am sent gear from China. I'm gonna get this out of the way really fast. I don't care what side of the political aisle you are on. If you don't think it's hilarious the way that Donald Trump says China, then you are dead inside. Like many other YouTube channels probably do, I get sent a lot of guitar pedals and products from China. And for the record, I'm talking about Chinese companies. I'm not talking about American or European companies that manufacture in China. So if you go somewhere like Amazon and you just search overdrive pedal, you're gonna see the ones that you're more familiar with from like Boss and whatnot, and then you're gonna see a whole bunch of Chinese pedals. And a lot of them, I would say the vast majority of them, all use the exact same circuitry and they just have a different design, brand, or enclosure. This doesn't necessarily mean that these clones are bad products. Some of them sound good, some of them don't sound good, but it's worth knowing because sometimes you'll get something like an overdrive pedal or an echo pedal put up on Amazon and it'll have some fake reviews, and then over the course of the next year, the organic reviews will be not so good, so they'll just take it down, rebrand it, put it in a different enclosure maybe, put it back up, get some more fake reviews, and the customer doesn't know what they're actually getting. But on Amazon, this isn't really that big of a deal because they have a very generous return policy. So if you get sent a pedal that's absolute crap, the worst you're going to lose is a piece of packing tape when you reseal it to send it back for free. Two questions that I get asked quite often that I've rarely taken into consideration are what is good to start with and what is good for my kid to start with. If you or a child is just learning or practicing, you don't really care all that much about hearing a comb filter and a reverb. So say you have an 8-year-old daughter or son learning the guitar, or say you just have me practicing the guitar at 4 in the morning with headphones on. I have plenty of multi-effects units, but they're honestly distracting. I'll spend more time making patches than I will just practicing my scales, which is actually what I need to be doing. There are a few smaller boutique Chinese companies that make original, authentic, and well-built products, and unfortunately they kind of get lumped in with the ones who just keep making the same clones over and over again. Nux is a Chinese company that has a wide selection of original products, and their Cerberus pedal actually looked like a pretty good pick for this type of thing. It's built like a tank, it's $300 new, it actually has good real reviews on Amazon, it gets an A on Fake Spot, which is kind of unheard of these days. It has true bypass, it has overdrive and distortion, you can actually change the overdrive and distortion routing, it has a cab modeler, I'll get into that in a moment, it has modulation, both like phaser, things like that, and then another modulation channel that's chorus, and then it has reverb and delay. So for my purposes, when I'm practicing with just my headphones on, I like to be able to emulate an amp that I actually own, so whatever I'm playing will sound the same coming out of the amp. In my opinion, Nux should really advertise this more because you can plug this into your computer via USB and upload your own impulse response. So the sound coming through my headphones sounds exactly the same as the sound coming through my Roland Jazz chorus amp. If you do want to get techie, it has MIDI in, MIDI out. Like I mentioned earlier, it does have true bypass. If you want to just practice, you could just plug your guitar in one side and your headphones or your output on the other side. However, if you want to, you could actually separate the modulation and overdrive and distortion sections and run an amp or whatever you want to run in that send chain. It's honestly a bit hard for me to feature a product on this channel that doesn't have some sort of crazy mind-blowing feature, but like I mentioned earlier, this is a request and this is actually an important gap to fill, something to practice on or something to start with. This is simply a guitar preamp, cab modeler, and effects processor that's well built, affordable, and not distracting. And I guess that's why I'm doing a video on it. This actually isn't paid promotion. I just feel like this channel should save a little bit of airtime for the less exciting things that we actually use on a daily basis. So let's hear it. So the guitar I'm using is a Jazz Hollow Body. It is a D'Angelico Premier, and I'm just going to keep it on its brightest tone because it has a pretty dynamic sound with all these knobs and switches. Hear that noise? Keep in mind that I am not in my studio. I am in a video room surrounded by lights and a whole bunch of things sharing a circuit with the audio gear. I say this in pretty much all my videos, but don't forget, it's not the fault of the pedal, it is the fault of the circuit. All right, so let's start off with my favorite thing. Everything in the pedal is disabled. However, if I press this little cab button, now we are playing with my Roland Jazz Chorus impulse response that I put on this device. That's just incredible. I love it. Let's dial in some drive. For those of you familiar with my music as a flashbulb, or for those of you who are guitarists, I'm going to give you a little bit of a tip. After I recorded Soundtrack to a Vacant Life, I played a couple shows of Dillinger Escape Plan, and they were kind of disappointed in some parts of the album, and I was like, why, what's up? And they were like, you used way too much distortion. And I was like, but I wanted it to be really heavy. I thought it sounded decent. And they're like, no, less is more. And oh my God, it changed the way that I thought about distortion in general. All right, so the distortion's totally peaked. All right, now the gain's down to about 30% and it's routed a little bit differently. Man, if we were able to compress that, it would sound fantastic. Let's put some modulation on it though. So the top one's tremolo, the middle one's phaser, and the bottom one is called Univibe. And on the left, I believe, is just different types of chorus. Oh, this has a tuner too. Now, of course, the reverb and delay. You already know what I'm going to say about the reverb. I'm probably the biggest reverb snob in the world. The reverb is meh. To be fair, after updating the firmware, they improved the reverb algorithms a whole lot, and you can also choose to have shimmer instead of reverb. The shimmer is terrible, but, you know, it is what it is. This is a multi-effects pedal. Find me a multi-effects pedal that has good reverb, and I'll give you a piece of popcorn, I don't know. So this is the shimmer. The new Hall algorithm in that firmware is actually pretty good. I assume 70s is supposed to be tape delay, 80s would be analog delay, and 90s would be digital delay. I'm gonna edit this out if I look in the manual and I'm wrong, but let's hear it. Sounds like a tape emulation. 80s. That's analog delay, all right. think it sounds pretty dang good. If you learned anything today, or if you like this video, subscribe to my channel. If there's anything you want me to cover in the future, let me know in the comments. I know a couple weeks ago I spoke about a Patreon thing and I got so much valuable input, and some of my subscribers are even like, hey, what's going on with the Patreon thing? Can I sign up for it? And that makes my heart explode. I'm gonna do it. But first, at the end of this month, I'm going to be launching a huge bundle in partnership with a nonprofit that I have been working closely with for over a decade. And then after that, later this year, the Patreon thing is a go. In the meantime, of course, if you want to support this channel, you could buy my music on Bandcamp down below, or you could just follow me on my socials. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.